Welcome to the Error404.Podcast. We're Waverly High School Robotics Team 7226, based out of West Lansing. I'm your host, Tim, and today we have
John,
Abel,
Robbie,
Zach,
our editors,
Adam,
Diego.
All right, so today we have a lot of second-year students. In fact, we're all second-year students, except one is a mentor, John.
That is correct. I graduated last year. That makes me a mentor because I stayed on. It's a lot of fun, and I decided to come back.
So, what have you all been working on? Who wants to start?
I'll start. Lately, or at least this year with robotics, there's been a whole lot of work in our new computer lab of sorts, and it's been kind of difficult working there because there's been a whole lot of changes and logistical issues here and there, but we've done a whole lot of work with CAD programs. And part of the problem is we keep switching CAD programs, but I think we've settled on Autodesk Inventor, at least for the past couple of months. And we've done quite a lot of work designing the robot and robot cart. We did a little bit of work in the off-season on making a t-shirt cannon, but right now it's definitely on like a really far back burner because we're in the middle of build season, so got a whole lot of other stuff to think about. After build season really got up and running, we decided to put a whole lot of work into actually building the robot, and I think that it'd be really great if Zach talked a little bit more about that, because I know he's been helping out too. Really just honestly a team effort there.
Yeah, so building the robot has turned into like a large portion of the team's job. We've been swapping our forge wheels between everyone. Just today, we've been putting pretty much riveting the whole thing together, and we're almost ready to get it driving around and practicing. It's coming together really nicely. I think we're nearly there. Our electronics are all soldered and everything. People are helping out with that. I dabbled in it for a little bit. So I think in a day or two we'll have our robot pretty much done.
One thing I do want to mention is that this year we have a whole lot of accents, and it's only two main colors, where last year we did have the whole thing pretty much powder coated before competition season started. But we had a whole lot of colors, and it wasn't really coherent. And this year it's like a really nice kind of light theme with almost everything white, and we've got a nice kind of magenta color. And I think it's going to look really good once we get it all together. Throw some LEDs on it. Extra horsepower, you feel me?
Yeah. A little disclaimer here. Any background noise you hear, we are in a small room off of a workshop, so all we hear is work being done in the background. Just want to throw that out there. So, Abel, programming.
I was the programmer last year as well, and I'm the head programmer this year. And so pretty much last year we used a program called LabVIEW, and that was a bunch of wire diagrams, just making boxes and connecting them. So it wasn't really coding, but this year we're doing it in Java, which is actually coding.
Coding for the big boys.
Mm-hmm. I like Java better than LabVIEW. So we've just been doing that while the robot's being built. I've been helping program the old robot from last year into actual Java, just so we can get a bit of practice, bit of a base foundation for this year's robot. And it's going really well. Most of it is in Java now, but now we just have to learn how to program in the new wheels that we're using this year, so that'll be different.
Yeah, we're using Mecanum wheels this year, where we just had standard ones last year. And the Mecanums are really interesting, actually. I like the fact that you can basically just Tokyo drift all over the place. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah. Honestly, I'm so excited to see Tim just somewhat the deja vu music, Deja vu, I just been in this place before, higher on the street. It's going to be so cool.
Well, yeah, I saw that you had the drivetrain done, because we were actually practicing the old robot on a new joystick. So
yeah, that joystick's pretty cool. I do like it. I think you're going to like it, Tim. That Extreme 3D boy is pretty cool.
Yeah, so last year we had Zach and myself as drivers. I control the drivetrain, and we would use an Xbox One controller to drive it. But this year you're programming a actual joystick because an old controller really wouldn't work with those wheels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, since with this one you can strafe around everywhere. It's just a lot easier. Plus it'll probably feel a lot smoother just using one joystick.
You can look like a fighter pilot. Well, what's been going on with the business side, Robert?
Oh, that's a very good question, Johnny. We've been doing a lot of things with the business team lately. So we just finished up, actually submitted it on Wednesday, the day before it was due. But we just did a whole bunch of essays and stuff for the Chairman's Award. So for those of you who don't know, FIRST Robotics, they have this thing called the Chairman's Award, and it's awarded to these teams that go above and beyond for the FIRST community and like try to spread the FIRST message to people in their community, excel at robotics and being team players, etc., etc. So it's kind of the honor award for all the FIRST teams, and we're really excited to be a part of that and competing for it. And we also just nominated one of our mentors for the Woody Flowers Award. Now, the Woody Flowers Award is an award for mentors that shows that it's awarded to mentors who have high communication skills and are great teachers and people we really look up to. So we nominated one of our own mentors for that, and that's going to be judged at, I think, the Lansing competition.
Are we allowed to know who was nominated?
We should probably keep that a secret.
That's
we're going to keep that one a
classified
secret for
information.
now.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
But in addition to all of that, we've been really gearing up for the open house, the end of build season open house that we're hosting here at the Waverly
Next
Workshop.
week, right?
That's next week, Saturday, 4 to 6.
Come on down.
Yeah, February 16th, 4 to 6. Put that date in there.
Eastern time.
Eastern time zone.
Lansing, Michigan.
Well,
But yeah.
also with the chairmans, we had the video done. That's up on our YouTube, isn't it?
Oh, yep, it is. Our YouTube channel, which is...
Will be linked in the description.
will be
It
linked
will
in the
be linked.
description.
Yes. Click on that link, everybody.
I mean, you might be listening to this on our YouTube
Like,
channel.
subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications.
That goes at the
Join
end,
that
Johnny. That goes at the
notifications.
end.
No. No one ever watches the end. We got to put that in the middle.
Plug it in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, if
And
you're
they
still
don't see it
listening, then you
coming.
probably like us at least a little bit. So like, subscribe, favorite, leave a comment,
Favorite.
add me on Facebook.
Zach, how has team captain been suiting you, my friend?
It's difficult to you don't really realize what all the skills you need to actually lead a team is until that's kind of thrust upon you. So actually keeping everyone engaged and involved and working on something it's a challenge, but I think it's pretty rewarding. Because then when everything does get put together, you kind of feel like you had an extra part in that. So it's a really cool experience, and I'm happy I got the chance to have it.
Thank you, Zach. I know personally, I as a mentor, I'm supposed to really be involving as many kids as I can. And a lot of times, it's hard to find what a kid actually wants to help work on, because they all have different interests. They all are better at some things, and they want to learn some things. And some kids just don't want to learn how to use power tools. That's fine. You don't have to. And then some kids really do. It's really, really difficult for me, I know, that to really bring that out of people, and to find people who are just kind of sitting on the sidelines and try and bring them in. And I think that a lot of the other mentors have been doing pretty well so far. And I think that, Zach, you said, I think you've been doing pretty well too, just trying to keep people engaged. But it definitely is tough. So shout out to all those people who are actually good at it, because I have no idea how they get it done, honestly. Are you the special guest?
I'm the special guest.
Oh, special
Wow.
guest Chad,
Chad has entered the ring.
our mentor Chad, or one of our other mentors.
What are we talking about here?
What were we talking about, John?
We were recently, just now we were talking about actually mentors and keeping kids engaged, and how, me personally, I find it really difficult. And I wanted to say that I think a lot of the mentors, including yourself, Chad, and I think Zach too, and a whole lot of the other team captains have been doing a really good job of trying to get new kids in and trying to teach new kids how to do stuff and encourage people to get more involved, especially when they're just kind of sitting on the sidelines and they're too shy to ask, hey, can I figure out, can you help me learn this, or can you show me what you're doing, or just anything.
It's tough. We have the whole robot design up in my head and in a few mentors' heads, and to get that to other people, to tell them this is how you do it and you do it right. It might take them an hour. It might take you 10 minutes. It's hard, but you gotta do it because there's a million people.
That's how you learn.
Chad, would you like to discuss, so first, last year, you were our first drive team coach.
Yeah.
And then you went into coaching programming as Jacob took over drive team coaching.
Yeah. So, the coach for the programming is one of the most important parts, right? If you don't have a program that doesn't work, it won't work, right? And Jacob's, driven before. He's experienced with that, and I have a lot of trust in the drivers too, to make sure that they're doing what they need to do.
Thank you.
Gracias.
That joystick now.
They're not
that joystick.
You got the yes. Oh, I'm so excited.
It's all about the
joystick.
Xbox controller. I don't know.
No, Tokyo Drift, Chad. Oh,
I've driven for 4 years, and I'm telling you right now, the Xbox controller is the best one.
Are you
Well,
sure?
have you used
What about
that?
joystick?
Have you used it with the new
Yes,
wheels?
I have.
Okay.
That's a myth.
Well, we're just gonna find out. We're gonna see what Tim likes, because that's what matters, at least to me.
Yes.
Thank you,
No,
John.
100%. 100. Don't listen to me though.
Yeah.
Tim is the driver. Whatever makes his job easier,
Yeah.
that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here.
Farewell.
I just wanted to interrupt you guys' podcast.
That's cool.
Thank
Don't-
you for
You
Don't
guys
ever
are
do it
listening
again.
to the Waverly Robotics podcast. Thanks. I was Chad. See you there.
Get back.
And Chad has left the ring. He'll be missed.
All right, so where were we? We were with mentoring and Zach being a captain.
Yeah, I think we wrapped that up pretty well.
Yeah,
All right.
I think that was complete. Do we want to talk a little bit about the upcoming game and our thoughts about it, especially like in reference to last year's game, because we all spent a
Yeah.
lot of time with last year's game.
We in the first podcast we kind of described what this year's challenge is, but
Yeah,
if you want to talk about the
Just quick hot
comparisons,
takes.
yeah, some hot takes. I think it's a really similar game actually, because you have similar like sized game pieces with the balls and the cubes, and you have a similar goal of like just simply placing that game piece in a specific place. And I think that elevators were really, really huge last year because it was so important to control the scale. I don't think it's going to be as important to get up towards the really higher goals this year, but definitely during what is it? Prelims?
yeah,
Yeah, I think definitely during prelims it's going to be super important to have at least 1 or 2 robots that can get up to those rocket.
Yeah.
That way you can get those ranking points, because ranking points are just so huge, honestly. Any other hot take?
for those who don't know anything about the last year challenge, so we can actually give them an idea of what we're comparing. Does somebody want to talk about what last year's challenge was?
So I can take that. Basically, you're picking up cubes that were, 13 inches
13.
or so?
They were milk crates.
Yeah, milk crates that were 13 inches, and you pick them up in claw, and you put them in some sort of teeter-totter to maintain control and win points. But this year, we're using kickballs, so just kickballs that you actually play kickball with. And they're about the same size, so you could almost use the same mechanism to pick them up. In fact, I saw one team that actually basically used their old robot for this new challenge. So it's a similar grabbing device, so what we learned last year actually applied a lot when making our new mechanism. And the only thing I'm kind of bummed about this year is it seems like there's a lot less interaction between the two teams. Like last year, there was a lot of fighting back and forth and defending. But this year, you can only have one of your team's robots on the other side of the field, so I just feel like there's not as much interaction and like team play as there was last year.
I want to cut in for a second. I'm actually really excited to see how that kind of metagame shapes up to be, because I think it's either going to be really important that you have one team member dedicated to the other side to defend, or it's going to be really important that you don't. And I honestly don't know how that metagame is going to shape up, but I'm excited to see like whether it's viable or not, or maybe it'll just be something that some people do and it works for them and it doesn't work for other people. But either way, it's going to be really interesting.
And then this year, it's completely different with Endgame being last year. You had a pull-up bar. How high up was the pull-up bar?
7 feet.
7 feet in the air, your robot would have to somehow attach itself to and lift itself up.
Yeah.
There were a lot of methods to that, but this year, completely different. You have platforms that you have to now get up on instead of just pulling yourself up to.
Yeah.
It's a completely different challenge because, well, building a hook to hook up and pull yourself up is a lot easier than trying to push yourself up off the ground and get onto a platform. So it was difficult trying to figure out a way how to do that and to be successful. I feel like it's going to be really important, at least in qualifying, to have someone that can get up to that top platform for that ranking point. Because they're very important when you're trying to get picked.
Especially with a lot of like newer teams that you're going to be with in prelims, you won't be able to rely on having another teammate that will be able to get to that 6 platform. So it's important to get to that 12.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get those 15 points for that ranking point. Yeah, Abel?
Is that what we're shooting for?
Yeah, we're shooting for the
12?
15, of course.
Yeah.
Or 12.
12,
Yeah, 12. 12 points.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. But we've got like a 2-stage, so we have to go up to the 6, and then we'll be able to go up to the 12. In theory, haven't tested it yet. We're going to see how it works.
So we explained a little bit of what our robot's going to look like in the earlier podcast, but as the people who are building it, John and Zach, do you want to chime in on what it's going to look like and what it's going to do?
Okay, first of all, it's gonna look freaking sick. Okay, it's gonna be so cool. Like that's the number one. The cooler it looks, the more people that like it, you're gonna get picked every time. It's gonna look like a spider bot because it has the front intake and the rear intake. It'll have like 8 wheels that you can readily see. So I'm excited for spider bot personally.
One of my favorite things is being the operator. You get to control pretty much everything that isn't directly driving it, which I think driving it is more skill-based. But basically, our elevator mechanism, it glides really well, so we'll be able to move up and down, and it's going to look really nice.
It will glide really well. It doesn't glide yet, though.
Yeah, because it's not completely done, but we're like 80% on that.
For sure.
So when do you guys think we'll be driving this boy?
Well, that also depends on Abel.
True.
Hopefully.
Okay, when do you think it'll be ready for programming? Like right now, it's in building and programming, but when do you think it'll be fully built?
I'm hoping we can have at least a drivable chassis by the end of today.
That's a solid goal.
Yeah.
I mean,
pretty cool.
what time is it right now?
We're looking at 1:45.
Okay. So we got a couple hours. Yeah, we might be able to do. We might be able to.
They're
sort
already
it.
mounting like the
Let's
gearboxes
aim
for
for it.
wheels and stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. We've kind of left Robert out here quite a bit. Do you want to talk a little bit more about the business side, especially on the open house? Like, is there something really that you're excited about that's coming up?
Oh, definitely. So with the open house comes a lot of our sponsors and volunteers coming to check out, as well as parents coming to check out the computer. We've been having a lot of promotional material ready for that recently. So we've made flyers, we've made pamphlets that we're going to hand out at the open house. And we're really ready to interact with these people who have made our team such a big success.
Yeah, like a lot of the people, especially behind the scenes, like, oh, you talk about me and Zach, and we've been talking a lot and kind of hogging spotlight. Sorry.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, none of this would happen without that other half of the team.
Yeah, I mean, the robot team is focused on the robot, but there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, but with sponsors who give us the materials for robots, and with the people who give us the space, and the people who clean up everything that people leave messes of, and the people who even like built the field and whatnot. That's not directly the robot, but it's gonna provide a lot of help for when we start driving that robot around.
Yeah, it's honestly night and day. Like a lot of the times, what gets done behind, well, certainly that I don't see it. My bad.
Because all of us are kind of in like our own spaces almost, so getting to see what everyone else does is pretty.
It's really
pretty
neat.
cool.
Really neat to see.
So, shameless plug here. We have mugs
That
with
is
our
cool.
logo on them.
Drinking
And-
out of one right now. Fantastic.
How many ounces is it?
Nice look.
I think it's 16.
16 ounces?
Something like
Only,
16. It's like the size of
like
a
a
water
bottle
bottle.
of
It's a
water.
bottle of water. Yeah.
but it's a cool bottle of water.
16
And
ounces,
it's a
insulated, really nice.
And
Has
what
a logo
$25.
Some
They
people
cost
flex with their
$25.
AirPods. That's correct.
But $25 if you want one. Message Twitter or something.
We have an email, waitfortherobotics@gmail.com. Send us a message, say something in the subject line about the mugs, and we'll get right back to you.
Yeah, honestly, I will plug these myself. I've been drinking out of this for weeks. It's fantastic.
Same.
It's not
10
bad
out of
one,
10.
too. Keeps cold, hot. Well,
All right, so that's it for today. Smash that like button on YouTube and
Smash that
subscribe
freaking like
for more.
button.
You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
don't forget to ring that bell and join
Yeah,
the
the
notifications.
bell
squad.
button. Yeah, and please watch all the ads. We need that ad revenue.
That's all for this episode.
Demonetized.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's been a pleasure.
See you later.
Adios.
Howdy.